What happens when a Hollywood actress known for keeping things calm and composed sits across from one of daytime television's most outspoken hosts, and the conversation suddenly takes a sharp turn? Make sure to subscribe to Final Take Files, and like and comment for more talk show coverage. So the segment starts the way these things usually do. The cameras pan across the table, the audience is clapping, and the host introduces her with that upbeat daytime energy. Please welcome Dakota Johnson. Dakota walks out smiling, relaxed, dressed simple but polished. She hugs a couple of the co-hosts, takes her seat, crosses her legs, and thanks the audience. It's warm at first. Light applause fades down. Joy Behar leans in with a grin. You always look so calm. I don't know how you do it. Every time you're on television, you look like you just woke up from a nap in the best way. The audience laughs. Dakota smiles politely. That's the goal. If I look rested, I've succeeded. The conversation starts safe. They talk about her new film, filming schedules, long nights, working with different directors. One of the other hosts chimes in about the industry changing, about streaming versus theaters. Dakota answers thoughtfully, measured, not overly rehearsed. She keeps eye contact, nods, laughs softly at the right moments. Then Joy pivots. But let's be honest, Joy says, adjusting her glasses. You've had an interesting relationship with fame. You grew up around it. Your parents are actors. Do you think that gave you a, let's say, smoother ride into Hollywood? There's a slight murmur in the audience. Not negative, but attentive. Dakota doesn't flinch. I mean, I grew up around sets. That's true. But a smoother ride? I don't know if I'd say that. Joy tilts her head. Come on. It helps. Connections help. That's not controversial. One of the co-hosts quickly adds, a lot of people are talking about nepotism lately. Dakota nods slowly. Sure. And I understand that conversation. But I also auditioned for things. I got rejected from things. I've been told no plenty of times. Joy gives a small laugh. But you didn't have to wait tables for 10 years. The audience reacts with a mix of laughter and, oh. Dakota keeps her composure. Actually, I did work in restaurants. Joy raises an eyebrow. For how long? A couple of years, Dakota replies calmly. Before I was booking consistent work. Joy leans back slightly. That's still different. You had a safety net. The energy shifts. It's subtle, but you can feel it. The other hosts glance at each other. The audience quiets. Dakota's smile fades just a little. Most people have some kind of safety net. That doesn't mean you don't work. Joy presses. But do you think sometimes people resent that? That you started from third base? There's that tension now. Not yelling. Not explosive. But tight. Dakota takes a breath. I think people can resent a lot of things. But I don't control how I was born. A few claps from the audience. Joy shrugs. Fair enough. I'm just saying, it's easier when your mom can make a call. One of the co-hosts tries to soften it. Joy. But Dakota looks directly at Joy now. Still calm, but more focused. With respect, she says evenly, my mom didn't make calls for me. Joy responds quickly, you're telling me no doors were opened? Dakota doesn't raise her voice. I'm telling you that walking through a door and staying in the room are two different things. That line lands. The audience reacts, louder this time. Joy pauses. Just a beat. Well, that's a good answer, she says, half smiling. But she doesn't move on. You've also spoken about being uncomfortable with certain parts of fame, Joy continues. Yet you keep taking high-profile projects. Isn't that a bit contradictory? Dakota's expression tightens slightly. I don't think wanting privacy means you don't want to work. Joy interrupts. But you know what comes with it. Yes, Dakota says calmly, and sometimes it's not healthy. There's a shift again. The co-host to Dakota's left leans in. You've talked about anxiety before, she says gently. Dakota nods. Yeah. I've dealt with anxiety since I was young. Joy crosses her arms. But isn't that part of the job? Every job has stress. The audience murmurs again. Dakota doesn't smile this time. Sure. But not every job involves millions of strangers discussing your body, your relationships, your family. Applause. Joy raises a hand slightly. I'm not minimizing it. I'm just saying, it's a choice. Dakota replies, still steady, working is a choice. Being publicly dissected isn't something you fully understand until it's happening. The air feels heavier now. The other hosts are quieter. One of them looks like she might jump in, but she waits. Joy leans forward again. You've had moments, though, where you've pushed back at interviewers. Some people say you can be icy. There it is. Dakota's eyes narrow just slightly. Not angry. Focused. I think women who don't laugh at everything get labeled that way. The audience claps loudly. Joy smiles tightly. Oh, here we go. Dakota doesn't laugh. No, I'm serious. If I answer directly, I'm icy. If a man does it, he's confident. The co-host on the far end nods. That's fair. Joy responds, but tone matters. You know that. Dakota tilts her head. Does it? Or does perception matter? A louder reaction from the crowd now. Joy opens her mouth to respond, but Dakota continues, still calm, not raised, not dramatic. I'm not here to be charming every second. I'm here to talk about my work. There's a pause. A real one. The kind that only happens live. Joy exhales through her nose. Nobody's asking you to tap dance. A few scattered laughs. Dakota says quietly, it can feel like that sometimes. And that's where the tension really settles in. Not explosive. Not shouting. Just two women holding their ground. The camera cuts briefly to the audience. People are leaning forward. One of the co-hosts tries to pivot. Let's talk about the film again. But Joy isn't done. So you don't think celebrities owe the public a certain warmth? Dakota answers immediately. I think celebrities owe professionalism, not emotional access. The audience applauds again, louder. Joy raises her eyebrows. Interesting. Dakota finally smiles again, but it's different now. Controlled. I'm just being honest. And you can feel it. The conversation has shifted from promotional to personal. The audience senses it. The co-hosts sense it. Joy senses it. The polite daytime energy is gone. Now it's a real debate. And it's just getting started. Joy leans back in her chair, tapping her pen lightly against the table, letting the applause die down on its own. When the room settles, she looks straight at Dakota Johnson again, this time with a sharper curiosity than before. So where does that line get drawn? Joy asks. Because the audience feels like they invest in you. They buy the tickets, they stream the movies, they follow your career. Don't they get something back? Dakota nods slowly, choosing her words. They get the work. That's the exchange. A ripple of reaction moves through the audience. Some claps, some murmurs. Joy smiles thinly. That sounds a little transactional. One of the co-hosts jumps in, sensing the tension. But she's not wrong. The job is the job. Joy turns to her. Sure, but we're in a culture right now where celebrities want privacy but also attention. Dakota shifts slightly in her chair. I don't think those things are opposites. Joy tilts her head. Explain that. I can want to make films, Dakota says, steady, and still not want strangers speculating about my mental health or my personal life. Joy interrupts. But that comes with the territory. Dakota looks at her, unblinking. Only because we've normalized it. The audience reacts again, louder this time. Joy exhales and laughs softly. Okay, but you see how that sounds. You're asking the culture to change while benefiting from it. Dakota replies without hesitation. I'm asking for basic boundaries. Another host leans forward. This is actually an interesting conversation. Joy nods but doesn't let go. You've had moments where you corrected interviewers on air. Some people loved it. Others thought it was rude. Dakota shrugs slightly. If someone says something that's not true, I correct it. Joy raises her eyebrows. Live on TV. Yes. Joy smiles. That's brave. Dakota responds evenly, it's honest. The audience laughs and claps again. Joy folds her arms. But honesty can come off cold. Dakota finally pushes back a little harder. Or we're uncomfortable with women being direct. That line hits. The applause is immediate and sustained. Joy waits it out, then chuckles. You're not wrong, but you're also not letting anyone off the hook. Dakota nods. I'm not trying to. One of the co-hosts gestures between them. This feels like two generations talking past each other. Joy points at her. Exactly. We were taught to smile through it. Dakota looks at Joy with genuine curiosity now. And did that help? The audience lets out an audible "oh." Joy pauses. Not defensive, but thoughtful. Sometimes. Sometimes not. Dakota softens her tone. I'm just trying to do it differently. Joy looks down at the table for a moment, then back up. But do you think that directness ever shuts down conversation? Dakota shakes her head slightly. No. I think it clarifies it. Joy responds quickly. Unless the other person feels attacked. Dakota replies just as quickly. That's not the same thing. The co-hosts exchange looks. This isn't heated, but it's real. Joy leans forward again. So when people say you silence interviewers. Dakota interrupts, still calm. I don't silence anyone. Joy smiles. You redirect. Dakota nods. Exactly. A beat passes. Joy laughs lightly. That's a nicer way to put it. Dakota smiles back, but it's measured. Words matter. The audience claps again. Joy glances at the camera briefly, then back to Dakota. You know this clip is going to go viral, right? The crowd laughs. Dakota shrugs. That's out of my control. Joy smirks. See? That calm. I don't know how you do it. Dakota responds quietly. Practice. One of the co-hosts chuckles. Therapy. Dakota nods. Also that. Big laugh from the audience. Joy relaxes back into her chair. All right, I'll give you this. You're very composed. Dakota says gently, I wasn't always. Joy looks surprised. Really? No, Dakota admits. I learned when to speak and when not to. And when I stopped apologizing for speaking. That line lands hard. Applause breaks out again. Joy nods slowly. That's powerful. But then she adds, still intimidating. Dakota laughs for real this time. I promise I'm not trying to be. Joy smiles. You might be succeeding anyway. The audience laughs. Another co-host jumps in. I think viewers at home are loving this. Joy glances sideways. Or yelling at their TVs. Dakota smiles. That's okay too. Joy taps her pen again. All right, last thing before break. Dakota looks ready. Joy asks, do you think there's a moment where you'd soften your approach? Or is this just who you are now? Dakota answers without hesitation. This is who I've always been. I just stopped hiding it. The audience erupts in applause. Joy holds up her hands. Okay. We'll take a break on that. As the cameras pull back and the applause continues, Joy leans toward Dakota and says off mic but still audible, you definitely didn't come to play. Dakota smiles and replies quietly, neither did you. And the tension doesn't disappear, it just waits, hanging in the air, ready for what comes next. When the show comes back from break, the applause feels louder, not just polite, but charged. The audience knows that something real was unfolding before the cameras cut away. Joy smiles toward the lens. We're back with Dakota Johnson. More applause. Joy turns to Dakota Johnson again, her tone lighter but her eyes focused. So, we were still talking during the break. The audience laughs knowingly. Dakota nods. We were. Joy leans forward. You said something interesting. You said sometimes interview questions aren't really questions, they're statements. Dakota doesn't hesitate. Yeah. Sometimes their conclusions with a question mark at the end. A ripple moves through the audience. Joy raises her eyebrows. You feel like that happens a lot? I think it happens everywhere, Dakota replies calmly. Joy tilts her head. Including here? There's a hush. Dakota answers carefully. I think it can happen anywhere people already have a narrative. The audience murmurs. One of the co-hosts steps in gently. So you're talking about assumptions? Yes, Dakota says. Assumptions. Labels. Tone. Joy picks up immediately. Tone again. Dakota nods. When people say you'd be more likable if you said the same thing differently. A wave of applause breaks out. Joy responds, but communication matters. It does, Dakota agrees. But so does what's actually being said. Joy leans forward slightly. So when I say you come off icy sometimes, that's tone policing? Dakota meets her eyes. It can be. The audience reacts. Some gasps, some claps. Joy folds her arms loosely. Or it could be feedback. Dakota responds smoothly. Feedback assumes I'm trying to win approval. That line hits. The applause is louder now. Joy laughs, a little surprised. You're not. Dakota shakes her head gently. No. A beat passes. Joy glances down at her notes. Daytime TV is built on warmth. Connection. Dakota nods. I understand that. Joy continues. So do you think your approach clashes with that? Dakota answers, steady and direct. I think authenticity connects more than forced warmth. The audience claps again. Joy's expression tightens slightly. Are you saying some of us are forcing it? Dakota doesn't flinch. I think we're all capable of performing. A co-host quickly interjects, half laughing. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Joy looks at Dakota carefully. Are you saying I'm performing? The room goes still. Dakota pauses, then answers calmly. I'm saying sometimes when women speak directly, it makes people uncomfortable. And instead of examining that discomfort, we label the woman. The audience reacts loudly. Joy blinks, absorbing it. I've been direct on television for decades. Dakota nods respectfully. And you've been criticized for it. Joy hesitates. Dakota continues, her tone still even. But you weren't told you'd be more likable if you smiled more, were you? That lands hard. The audience erupts, applause, a few shocked laughs. Joy exhales. Oh, I've been told things. Dakota tilts her head slightly. Not in the same way. Another pause. This one heavier. Joy studies her. So this is about generational differences? It's about how women are judged differently depending on how comfortable they make other people, Dakota replies. The co-host on the end nods firmly. That's true. Joy leans back, thoughtful now rather than combative. You came in prepared. Dakota gives a small smile. I came in ready to talk. Joy smirks. Ready to push back. If necessary, Dakota says calmly. More applause. Joy asks, some viewers might say this feels defensive. Dakota shakes her head. It's boundaries. That word draws another strong reaction from the crowd. Joy laughs lightly. You're very good at reframing. Dakota smiles. I'm good at clarifying. One of the co-hosts jumps in. Can we just acknowledge, nobody's yelling. This is just two strong opinions. The audience claps. Joy nods. I'm not angry. Me neither, Dakota says. Joy looks at her. You sure? Dakota laughs softly. I promise. The tension eases just slightly. Joy asks one final question before wrapping the segment. If a young actress is watching this right now, what should she take from how you handle interviews? Dakota answers without hesitation. That she doesn't have to shrink. The audience applauds loudly. Joy follows up. Even if she's called difficult? Dakota nods. Especially then. The applause swells again. Joy looks out at the crowd, then back at Dakota. I may still think you're intimidating. The audience laughs. Dakota shrugs playfully. That's okay. Joy smiles. All right. When we come back, we're actually going to talk about the movie. More laughter. Dakota smiles back. I'd love that. As the cameras prepare to cut again, the energy in the studio feels different. No shouting. No meltdown. Just a very public shift in who was steering the conversation. And it's clear now, nobody got silenced. But nobody walked away unchanged either. When the show returns for the final segment, the energy is noticeably different. Not tense in a sharp way, but aware. The audience is leaning in more than usual. Even the co-hosts seem more measured. Joy smiles toward the camera. All right, we promised we'd talk about the movie. The audience laughs knowingly. Dakota Johnson smiles too. Yes, let's. There's a lighter tone now as they briefly touch on the film, the plot, the cast, the experience on set. Dakota answers comfortably. The tension from earlier hasn't disappeared, but it's no longer combative. It's settled into something more mutual. Respectful but real. One of the co-hosts compliments her performance. You're incredibly subtle in this role. Dakota nods. Thank you. I like quieter characters. Joy raises an eyebrow slightly. That tracks. The audience laughs. Dakota smiles. I know what you mean. Joy looks at her for a second, then says something unexpected. I will say this, you don't dodge. The audience quiets again. Dakota tilts her head. I try not to. Joy nods slowly. A lot of people come here and pivot. You didn't. Dakota responds simply, I respect the platform. There's a soft reaction from the audience. Not loud, but warm. Joy exhales and leans back. Well, I respect that. It's subtle, but it feels like the closing of a loop. Another co-host jumps in to lighten it further. See? We can debate and still like each other. Joy laughs. Who said I didn't like her? Dakota grins. I never thought you didn't. The audience laughs again. Joy gestures playfully. Don't start. The tone stays light as the segment winds down. But you can feel that something meaningful happened earlier. It wasn't a blow-up. It wasn't shouting. It was something rarer for live daytime television, a firm boundary held calmly. As the show wraps, Joy turns back to Dakota. You're welcome back anytime. Dakota nods. I'd come back. The applause swells as the credits music begins softly underneath. And then the cameras cut. But that's not where it ends. Almost immediately after the episode airs, clips start circulating online. Short segments, the tone policing moment, the I'm not trying to win approval line, and especially the part where Dakota calmly says women get labeled cold for being direct. Social media splits fast. Some viewers praise Joy, saying she asked the tough questions and didn't back down. Others say Dakota handled the pressure with composure and clarity. The word boundaries trends for a few hours. So does icy. Comment sections light up. Dakota didn't raise her voice once. Joy tried to corner her. This is what respectful disagreement looks like. She silenced her without even trying. Clips replay the moment where Joy pauses, just briefly, after Dakota challenges the generational difference. That pause becomes the centerpiece of online debate. The next morning, entertainment outlets pick it up. Headlines frame it as a clash, but the footage tells a more layered story. No shouting. No insults. Just tension. Backstage, according to staff later quoted anonymously, the two women spoke briefly before leaving. No drama. No icy exit. Just a quick exchange. You're tough, Joy reportedly said. You are too, Dakota replied. Professional. Direct. Done. On the following day's show, Joy references it lightly. Apparently the internet thinks I got schooled yesterday, she jokes. The audience laughs. She shrugs. I call that a conversation. That line gets applause. Meanwhile, Dakota continues her press tour. In another interview, she's asked about the exchange. She doesn't escalate it. I think it was a healthy discussion, she says. I don't see it as conflict. That response circulates too. And that's what makes the moment stick. Not a meltdown. Not a walk-off. Not a viral shouting match. It was the restraint. The calm refusal to shrink. The steady eye contact. The refusal to accept a label without raising her voice. For viewers at home, it becomes one of those rare talk show moments that feels unscripted and unfiltered. Not explosive, but revealing. And whether people sided with Joy or Dakota, almost everyone agreed on one thing. It was real. No one stormed off. No one apologized. No one won. But something shifted. The audience saw a veteran host challenged without disrespect. They saw an actress push back without hostility. And they saw what happens when neither person backs down, but neither loses control either. That's why the clip kept replaying. That's why it sparked conversation. And that's why people are still debating it. Now we want to hear from you. Did Dakota handle it the right way? Was Joy just doing her job? Was it generational? Was it tone? Was it boundaries? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to Final Take Files for more real talk show stories.